Agent Romanoff. You miss me?
Oh yeah, Charles, we got ourselves an X-Men fan.
Captain.
Your Highness.
Jackman, big fan, Spider-Man. Hey everyone.
Hey guys, and welcome to Film Artsy, your number one source for all things films and movies. My name is Elijah, and we're looking at the new X-Men movie, Dark Phoenix, coming out really soon. And surprisingly enough, it seems like a lot of people have very mixed opinions about this new film coming up. So we wanted to talk about that a little bit. As you guys know, recently Disney has acquired Fox, or at least the rights to everything that Fox kind of distributes, and that includes X-Men, which means inevitably the X-Men characters and the intellectual properties associated with that will be moving into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But before these huge steps can happen, the X-Men universe, all the films that are in production, need to be released first. So with that, our first movie, or our last technical movie that we're going to be looking at from this merger, is going to be Dark Phoenix. And while people should be really excited because X-Men's been relatively popular over the years, it seems like this movie is actually shaping up to possibly bomb in the box office. And it's interesting why. First thing that we have noticed is the fact that this movie is really being advertised as kind of that final conclusion of 20 years of the X-Men universe existing. And while those types of advertising have worked in the past with other films like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they've advertised Avengers Infinity War as being the culmination of 10 years of the MCU. And they did it again just a year later with Endgame kind of being the part 2, but also the bookend for the first series. And they're even trying to almost do it again with Spider-Man Far From Home, as this is kind of the epilogue of what Endgame and Infinity War did. And there's nothing wrong with that. It works. It's good marketing. It gets people excited. It makes people feel like their investment is going to pay off. And that's really cool. Now, on the other hand, with X-Men, they're trying to do the same thing, and they've done it before with Wolverine, as it was the end of that character's storyline. And now we're seeing it again with Dark Phoenix. And while, yeah, this will kind of be the wrap-up of storylines, this plot and these characters are still relatively disconnected from the same X-Men universe we had maybe 10-15 years ago. So a lot of people aren't as invested in this set of characters, as really they've been kind of swapping out characters, changing actors, changing storylines, and really developing a confusing timeline that has thrown off a lot of fans who've tried to follow it casually for years. Of course, we're not going to discredit the hardcore fans who have followed everything that X-Men has developed in the years that these movies have come out, but there's definitely something to take note of with the fact that through all of this, it has a really confusing timeline. Now, does that mean that this movie will be bad? Not necessarily. There is still a lot going on here, and this movie could be well received. There's interesting characters, plot lines, and things that people are invested in, but at the same time, superhero fatigue is somewhat of a thing, except not really. I think in general, people are willing to go see superhero movies if they're good, and they look appealing, and they're doing something different. That's why Avengers has been super successful, and even the DCEU with movies like Aquaman and Shazam, they've done really well. Now, in between Avengers Endgame and the release of Spider-Man Far From Home, will this new X-Men movie do well? I don't think it's going to do as well as they hope. There's really just not enough hype surrounding this movie. It is kind of a conclusion, but don't we have one more X-Men movie coming up still in the next year or so after Dark Phoenix? Yeah, we technically still have one more movie in New Mutants coming out, which was announced way back in 2015, and this will technically be the last movie, but it's already gone through some pretty serious development nightmares. They released the trailer quite a while back, and it's been extremely difficult for this movie to be kind of greenlit for release with all of the delays it's had, and they've done intensive reshooting. So the fact that this movie is really just going to be a one and done, it's really a weird finale to end on. but then we'll start seeing some of these X-Men characters showing up in the MCU. It also looks like the Dark Phoenix directors don't have any acknowledgement as to whether or not these movies are going to have any sort of reference to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Of course, they've done a lot of stuff with time travel in the X-Men universe, so it wouldn't be crazy to see some crossovers, especially as time travel was a major role in Endgame, but it looks like that's probably not going to be something that happens here, mostly because I think that the MCU team wants to just start fresh with the universe. And I think a lot of people knowing that the X-Men are coming over to the MCU, it almost makes them less invested in the old X-Men timeline just because they know something newer and possibly better and more well-written or more grounded and a more straightforward story is coming out soon, and that's something that a lot of people care about. And it'll be really interesting to see how that can play out once we see those releases, or just how this movie does in the box office and in reviews. There's a lot of really interesting elements that they've been doing with the X-Men universe, and the casting's really good. There is a great set of cast and the characters are decently developed, but at times it feels a little over the top. It doesn't necessarily feel rooted in storytelling and more rooted in action sequences and abilities, which isn't bad, but we would like to see some more character-driven stories. And honestly, from the trailers, it looks like they're focusing in a little bit on some of those major character parts. And I think a lot of people will resonate with that if it's done well, but just the history that X-Men has, especially in the more recent movies, it's almost decentralized in the type of tale that they're trying to tell. And they're staying too close to what worked way back when the first X-Men movie came out, rather than trying to innovate and tell different types of stories. Deadpool was a great example of something in the X-Men universe that did well, and it really just broke the barriers of what the other X-Men movies had done before. And we saw that again with Logan. It wasn't necessarily trying to be an X-Men movie. It was telling its own story that was self-contained and focused on a single character. Where when every movie that seems to be attached with the X-Men name kind of goes just above big and loud with a ton of different characters and powers and doesn't really focus in enough. Sure, there's going to be some major plot points, and this is going to be some interesting culmination of everything that they've done, but I don't think it's going to be the same level of respect and homage to past movies as we saw with Avengers Endgame. And it's clear that that's what they're trying to market it as. They're marketing it with, old cast interviews and clips from all the old X-Men movies, but we don't really think that this new movie is going to have much to do with any of that. Where other movies that have done that and paid that homage kind of pay homage throughout the movie to the previous movies. Look at Endgame again. I hate to use Endgame as an example of everything that this movie should do, but Endgame honestly was possibly one of the biggest and best superhero movies we have seen in a long time. And how can you not compare it when this is literally the next movie coming out right afterwards? So we're really curious to see what happens with this. Let us know what you're thinking about this. We're curious how this is going to all play out. The cast is really good. It'll be interesting to at least see these character lines, and we expect a ton of characters to die, and it's going to get messy, and it might be some fun movies to watch. It's definitely not a movie I'm excited to go to the midnight release for or show up right away, but it's still one I'm probably will go and see and check it out and see how it plays out. Hopefully it's good. I'm down for good movies in general, then everyone wins. But let us know what you're thinking. Are you excited about this movie? Please let us know in the comment section down below. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe with notifications on, and we will see you all next time with a brand new video. Bye guys.
What's up, Dorito?
Then, better late than never, Captain America, Chris Evans, crashes the interview. Hugs all around, but hey, where's Roxy?
I'm sorry.
Chris Evans.
You two are...
Hi.
You both are relevant. Great, thanks, good.
Okay. This interview actually ended 2 minutes ago. We just...
Kyle, enjoy this Team Iron wannabe man, but the right team is the only team Cap.
No negativity from me.
Are you a baby?
Oh, wow.
Are you Avery? You're a pretty girl. Yes. Are you happy?
Hey guys, we hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, make sure you guys hit the like button down below and subscribe for more Film Artsy. If you guys want to showcase your talent to the world, Film Artsy is the best place for you guys to do it. Please submit your videos to filmartsyofficial@gmail.com, or you guys can click the link in the description. We really want to see what kind of talent you guys can provide. So let us know, send us an email, and we'll check out your videos, and we'll see you all in the next video.